Hello everybody, welcome back to another edition of Homemade, and today you all, we are making one of my absolute favorites. I loved when my grandmother used to cook these, and we are doing fried cabbage. Now my recipe is a little different because I will not be using any type of meat to get the fat that we need or the oil that we need to fry the cabbage. This is a more healthier route, I would say, but it still tastes just as good, you all. Now, if you do want to use the bacon or fatback or whatever type of meat you use, and typically in Southern fried cabbage, the old-fashioned way, they always use bacon or some type of pork. But again, we're not using any of that. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to chop up our cabbage, and we are going to head to the stove once we wash our cabbage. But I do want to let you know the seasonings that we are using for this particular recipe. And I just have 1 tablespoon of our Creole, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of the garlic and herb seasoning, and 1 tablespoon of onion powder. Now, if you want to omit the garlic and herb, that is totally fine. If you'll notice, I am not using any salt because there is already enough salt in the Creole seasoning. And even though the garlic and herb seasoning isn't really salty, it does have a little bit of salt in it. Now, we are going to fry this. Since I am not using any type of bacon or meat in this, I do need some type of oil to fry the cabbage. So I'm just using regular canola oil. I will use 1 whole red onion, and I just chopped it up kind of fine. And I'll use a tablespoon of minced garlic. Before I start to chop the cabbage, I do like to remove these outside leaves because it just makes the cabbage easier to chop if you have those large leaves out of the way. Now, with our cabbage, if you'll notice, I'm just using a small head of cabbage. If you want to use a larger one, that is totally fine. And I like to cut mine into about medium-sized pieces. I don't like them too small, and I don't like them too large. I do go ahead and remove that core out really easily. There's my knife on both sides. Because typically, if that is in there, it takes the cabbage a lot longer to cook to me. So the way that I slice mine is I just slice them in about 4 sections, 3 or 4 sections. And again, I don't like them too large, and I don't like them too small. So and feel free to chop yours as large or as small as you like. So that is about the strip size that I like. And even though this is the inside of the cabbage, I still like to wash it. Please, please, please wash all of your produce, whether you feel like it's been exposed to something or not. You also, once I finish chopping this, I'm going to wash it, and we're going to go ahead and head to the stove. We're back, and I've washed my greens, and I'm about to start cooking them. So what I like to do is just pour the oil into my skillet. And if I feel like it's a little too much before the oil heats up too much, I like to go ahead and pour a little out. Once our oil is in, we are going to put in our garlic and our onions. Okay. And I just like to stir those around just a little because I don't want them to cook too much before I put the cabbage in, because I kind of want everything to cook together so it can give the cabbage the flavor that it needs. Okay, so now that I have in my garlic and my onion, I'm going to start putting in my cabbage. And if I have a large batch of cabbage, I like to break my seasonings up into 2 parts. And by that, I mean I like to put on some of my seasonings into the bottom part. And I just have my heat on medium to high heat. We will cut the heat down in just a second when we cut them on. And if you'll notice, I did not put any water in my cabbage because, again, remember, we're not boiling them, we are frying them. Okay, so I'm going to toss those around a little bit. Reduce my heat, and I'm going to cover them. We're going to let these cook, and we will come back after 10 minutes and stir them. You do want to make sure, again, that your heat is not too high, and also as you're stirring these, you want to make sure that you are touching the bottom of your skillet. So I'm going to just stir these a little more, put the lid back on them, and let them cook for a few more minutes. Back, and I've let my cabbage cook for about 8 more minutes. And you all, as you can see, they have started to turn brown. Now they are done. We want our cabbage to be tender, but we don't want them to be mushy. That's really, really, really important. You're looking for tenderness, not mushiness. So what I'll do is I'll just take my spoon, and if you can see, once I press down into the cabbages, they start to break apart. So that I'm going to just crack my lid on them like so, cut my heat off, remove them from the heat, and I will let them rest for about 5 minutes just to give the cabbage time to just soak up all the extra flavor and things like that that are in my pan. And we are going to come back and sample this goodness. So I'm back. Our cabbages have rested, and you all look how they just, oh my goodness. They are so soft, but they're not mushy. You all, fried cabbage are the way to go. The seasoning of these cabbages, awesome. So awesome. When you try these cabbages, you all, because you have to try them, make sure you leave your comments and your pictures in the comment section below. Let me know how they turned out for you. It's easy, 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 easy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our channel if you want to keep seeing these easy, easy, easy homemade recipes. As I always say, cooking is as easy or as hard as you make it. But I promise you, just keep it simple. Be yourself, and life in itself can be so much easier. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Homemade. And until next time, continue to be great.